New York is perhaps the most famous place in the world. Whoever you are and whatever the reason for your visit, there is a part of the city that will pique your interest. However, one quality of the city many people find prohibitive is its high cost of living, which begs the question, why is New York so expensive? Welcome to our channel. In this video, we'll be talking about the reason for the high standard of living in New York. New York City is one of the most convenient places you can ever visit. This place has it all. New York is always buzzing with activity, from food to intriguing tourist attractions, and even massive financial institutions. Given all the city has to offer, it is the most populated city in the US and one of the top 10 in the world, with a population of almost 8.5 million. The city that never sleeps, as it is often referred to, is highlighted by popular landmarks, including the Met Museum, the Statue of Liberty, the famous Times Square, Central Park, and Madison Square Garden, amongst many others. Taking a stroll in this city, you'd be amused by the sights of yellow cabs, sky-high buildings, the popular I Love New York logos, and the fast-paced community. Although it is a fun place to visit, New York is the most expensive city in the US. On average, monthly expenses sum up to at least $10,000. Studies show that about 2 million New York residents crash under the pressures of a high standard of living. Without further ado, let's take a look at some reasons why New York is so expensive. Expensive real estate. We all know that one of the biggest contributors to a person's budget is rent. So it doesn't come as a shock that real estate is the biggest contributor to the high cost of living in New York. Housing costs in the city exceed the national average of $1,500 by almost 3 times. In Manhattan, for example, the average rent for a modest apartment is well over $3,000, while the value in Queens and Brooklyn is estimated at roughly $2,500. Houses in New York are expensive for many reasons, including high construction costs and the fact that the population exceeds the available apartments. Additionally, many apartments are classics, therefore they attract high prices. Although housing in New York is very expensive, it is not necessarily unattainable. Many New Yorkers escape the high housing costs by having roommates or sharing workspace with others. High-paying jobs. Due to the thriving economy of New York City, there are quite a number of high-paying jobs. These jobs, which are important to keep up with the financial demands of the city, are also partly responsible for the high standard of living within the city. With an average work rate of $25 an hour in New York, a bartender within the city could earn up to twice the salary of a bartender in another state. This steep difference in work rates causes more people to travel to New York in search of work. Obviously, this causes the population to rise and the prices of services to rise along with it. Apart from the effect of these jobs on the population, services offered in New York are tailored to the financial capabilities of its residents. In New York, so many people earn 6-figure salaries per year. The city is home to almost 1 million millionaires and over 100 billionaires, which is more than every country except the US, China, and Germany. With so many wealthy and well-paid individuals in the city, the spending power is expected to be high, resulting in high prices. Booming economy. New York City is one of the world's highest commercially driven cities and has even been described as the economic capital of the world. The 8-block-long Wall Street is a testament to the New York's economic growth. In recent years, the city's financial sector has experienced tremendous growth due to the relocation of many local and international businesses. The presence of prominent companies like Ralph Lauren, Pfizer, American Express, and Verizon, amongst many others, leads to the intense competition, which in turn results in the hiking of prices. For example, these companies take up a lot of space, and because they're willing to pay a huge sum of money for the property, they unavoidably raise the bar in the property purchase. This leads to an increase in rent and property value, which makes the city less affordable for many residents and small-scale businesses. In addition, some companies have a monopoly on certain products or services, which gives them the power to increase the cost of these services. Unfortunately, these companies have their way, as many New Yorkers do not have a choice but to purchase these overpriced services. With the booming economy, demand for jobs, houses, healthcare, and other basic amenities is rapidly increasing, causing a strain on many people's finances. High population pressure. As mentioned earlier, New York City is home to over 8 million people. This means that roughly 1 in every 38 Americans live in New York. As high as the population is, this value is expected to keep rising. But unfortunately, the available resources are limited. Within the city, there is a limited amount of residential buildings and other basic amenities, and there are barely any lands available for construction of new structures. As it is, there is barely enough to go around. Therefore, the buildings available are leased at high prices. Given Given the city's development, constructors are focusing most of their efforts on developing areas, so new structures aren't being constructed within the city. Because of the slow rate of refurbishing resources, not everybody can gain access to basic amenities. Members of the fast-growing population have to struggle financially to secure basic amenities for themselves. Like a typical survival of the fittest scenario, people living below the poverty line have a tough time meeting their basic needs, and even financially stable people pay more than is normally required to acquire certain services. High tourism. Considering all that's packed in the city, it doesn't come as a surprise that New York is a popular travel destination, having over 60 million visitors per year. There's so much to see in the city, including world-class museums, theaters, restaurants, hotels, shopping destinations, you name it. The beauty of New York City causes a large influx of tourists, contributing to the problem of overcrowding and high prices. The presence of tourists in these already busy neighborhoods leads to an increase in prices at popular attractions, restaurants, and hotels. Although this city generates a lot of revenue from tourism, it is not necessarily a good thing for New Yorkers. During the vacation seasons, they pay more at restaurants, concerts, etc., further adding to their already high cost of living. High construction costs. In an overcrowded city like New York, there are high demands for new infrastructure. However, construction costs are among the highest in the whole country. This is due to the complex permitting processes, strict zoning laws, and high work rates in the city. Construction workers are paid up to 3 times the work rate in other cities within the country. The high construction cost is compensated for by increased rent and property value, which in turn leads to an increase in the cost of living for New Yorkers. High taxes. Most of our favorite things about New York City are public properties, which are expensive to maintain. In a city with so much going on, a lot of money is put into ensuring everything functions optimally. Most of this money is paid for by the good people of New York in the form of tax. Tax payments in New York, especially property taxes, are among the highest in the country. The cost of these taxes put a strain on the pocket of an average New York resident, making living in the city even less affordable. Parking space. A car is one of the most expensive assets to own in New York City for a number of reasons. Of the many things that can be easily found within the city, parking space is nowhere on that list. With all the sky-high commercial and residential buildings, there is barely any space left for parking vehicles. The only option are parking on streets or in parking garages. However, both options can take a toll on the finances of a car owner. Long-term use of parking garages in New York costs at least $600 a month, exceeding the average rent in some US cities such as San Joaquin, California, and Monte Vista in Colorado. The second option, parking on the streets, can be equally expensive when you consider parking tickets and the high risk of damaging your car due to the degree of human and vehicle traffic. Given the high car insurance rate in the city, no one would want to risk getting the car damaged. After considering all these car-related costs, most New Yorkers have chosen not to own a car and save themselves thousands of dollars. Variety of weather conditions. No matter where you live in New York, you will experience 4 different weather conditions: spring, fall, summer, and winter. Preparing for these different weather conditions would also require that you spend more money, especially if you plan to live in the city for the long term. At first, it might not seem like a big expense. However, with the style and size changes, the cost of a wardrobe change can quickly add up, especially in New York, where everything is more expensive than its average cost. Living in New York is not easy to pull off. From the overwhelming bills to the crazy population, it takes a lot of spirit and determination to pull through the hassle of the city. However, it is undeniable that the city provides a lot of opportunity. And for the people who are willing to put in all the work necessary, New York can be a perfect place to thrive. New York can also be the perfect place to unwind, although the cost might be high, and rightfully so. There are so many fun things to do. You could attend a Broadway musical, a live taping of The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon, sightsee many historic buildings, and treat yourself to the best street food the city has to offer. Who knows, you might even run into Taylor Swift on one of your escapades. New York City is definitely a go-to destination, whether it's to live in, for work, or for pleasure. Just make sure you go with wads of cash. That brings us to the end of the video. We'd like to hear from you in the comment section below. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more videos. Thank you for watching, and bye for now.